We're fighting for liberty, the most expensive luxury known to man.
Today, if you went downtown to my local town and you asked 5 people why we're fighting in Iraq, you'd get 5 different answers.
Why do we fight? I'm not quite sure, but I think it's for power and control, for greed.
I'm not sure if we're fighting for the oil or not. We could be, we could not be. The government has more knowledge than I know.
I think everybody has a different idea why we're there, and a lot of people think we shouldn't be.
What we're seeing is a disconnection of our American foreign policy from the citizen, from the average American citizen.
Why do we fight?
Oh, I wish we didn't. I wish we didn't. Sometimes you have to, though.
This is one of my favorite pictures of all time, smiling with his 2 teeth. Man, Jason. What can I do for my son's memory? I'm not a millionaire. I can't build schools and libraries. I'm just a regular cop living on a pension. I want to be able to do something so that hopefully one day I can go over to my son's grave. And I can go over to my son's grave and tell him that I've done something in his memory that hopefully will be a step in preventing another attack like that.
The bomb is designed to be delivered inside a target. So
my expertise is in explosive technology, and so are a lot of my colleagues here at Indian Head. When the Pentagon called, my position then was the head of what we call the payload team. A bomb, it's the nomenclature for bomb. I find it sometimes amusing when people ask me, what do you work in? And I would say explosive, and they would. But our mission was to quickly weaponize what was called a penetrator. It basically was a big bomb engineered to enhance its blast effect inside confined structures such as tunnels, caves, etc.
We're going to attack somebody. We're going to bomb someplace. There's no question about that. The question is, where are we going to do it and why?
Do you think that after an adversary gets nuclear weapons is a better time to engage that adversary than now without?
Iraq continues to flaunt its hostility toward America and to support terror. This is a regime that has something to hide from the civilized world.
The invasion of Iraq in 2003 is to a very considerable extent about repositioning the United States as the country that must be obeyed. It's an easy way to send a signal to the planet that the United States is in charge and it's going to do what it wants, and anybody who defies the United States will be punished.
The decision to attack Iraqi leadership at the opening salvo, it was a bold move. It was a new way of making war, and technology was able to provide our leadership that opportunity.
We had received this new weapon called the Enhanced Guided Bomb Unit 27, and it was like the new candy at the candy store. We needed something that was going to give us the capability to strike through the weather and not worry about having to bring the bombs home.
The whole of the city is still lit very brightly, but nobody's moving on the streets whatsoever. It's like everybody here is holding their breath.
We really didn't know who was there and who was going to take the blow of what we were about to do.
Both Colonel Tuman and I probably had our suspicions about who it was.
We've gotten some indications that it may be Sons, it may be Saddam himself.
Assassination, people sometimes think with precision weapons that maybe you can now assassinate people from very high altitudes. I mean, golly, First of all, if it's a fixed target like a building, you have the time to understand it, its location. The next hardest target is one that moves around, and the single hardest target of all is a human being.
Sometimes before you can bring about democratic change, you have to remove the obstacle to democratic change. You have to remove Saddam Hussein because there's no hope for democracy with Saddam there.
The point, in many ways, for these guys wasn't just to topple Saddam, it was to transform the Middle East. They want to take the U.S. military and go in and shore up American interest in the key area of the world. And that's their vision. They want to spread democracy around the world on the point of our bayonets.
تتمنين العراق أن يصبح مثل أمريكا؟
والله شو أقول لك، يجوز أكو ناس ترتاح أكو ناس ما ترتاح مثلا. ما أريد مثلا يعني أريد مثل أمريكا، مثل شوارعها، حدائقها، بنائها، هيك أريد.
إحنا من البداية واقفين ضد أمريكا، لكن أكو ناس اللي كانوا يرحبون بأمريكا هو قال صدق ديمقراطية وصدق أمريكا تحررنا.
في الصراحة كيفنا كله احنا صفقنا. شو نصيح؟ عاش بوش، مات صدام. احنا جاي نصفق عاش بوش، مات صدام.
I think most Americans don't want to police the world, but I think most Americans understand that if we don't at least help police the world, then no one's going to.
Where the debate and controversy begins is how far does the United States go, and when does it go from a force for good to a force of imperialism?
People complain a lot about American arrogance and American power, but the great threat for the future is not American power and American strength. It would be American weakness and American withdrawal.
They do believe that this is not only for the long-term benefit of the United States, but it's for the long-term benefit of everybody else as well. We'll bring them American values, prosperity, peace, all the rest of it. But the way we're going to do that is to take over, even more than we did at the height of the Cold War.
3, 2, 1, fire!
After the Second World War, the United States literally divided the world up into commands, and some American officer was responsible for every region of the world. There was this domino theory. If any of these places fall to communism, then the next place and the next place and the next place will fall as well, and the next thing you know, they're in Missouri.
Once upon a time, your hometown was safe, but not now. It is possible for a rocket to strike your home right now, today, right now. And what defense remains? Strength. Strength, ready if we need it.
When my dad first became president, he came in at the real beginning of the thermonuclear age.
I think we have to put the 1950s into perspective. We look back today and we think the 1950s was a period of Elvis Presley and poodle skirts. But in fact, it was a very dangerous period of time.
Defense budgets throughout the Western world doubled or tripled in the 4 years between 48 and 52.
The Soviets are outproducing America's aircraft factories.
There is a threat, but we can't measure how much is enough defense spending to stop the Soviet Union. So by the time Eisenhower is president, there is a huge new flow of cash into defense industries.
He was the first to acknowledge that a permanent military establishment would be required during this period, but that unless we could find some kind of breakthrough, that in fact it would end up creating a terrible cost.
The cost of one modern heavy bomber is this: a modern brick school in more than 30 cities.
It is 2 electric power plants, each serving a town of 60,000 population. It is 2 fine, fully equipped hospitals.
We pay for a single fighter plane with 500,000 bushels of wheat.
We pay for a single destroyer with new homes that could have housed more than 8,000 people.
This is not a way of life at all, in any true sense. Under the cloud of threatening war, it is humanity hanging from a cross of iron.
My father, as president, had strong guiding principles. He used to say, modern weapons take food from the hungry and shelter from the homeless. And so he was fighting with the Pentagon all the time.